Good morning. This is Kevin giving you his take on the Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Bud Crawford mega fight, hopefully coming up in October. Before I go any further, I want to shout out my boys from VSU. We used to have a podcast on here back in 2010, 2011 called In the Zone. I mean, we were dropping 2-3 videos a week. Great times, great times. Then we moved on to Blog Talk Radio. But hey, it's life, you know. It wasn't full time for either one of us. We had hopes of that, but like I said, I'm a school teacher by trade. My boys are doing other things as well. But this Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Crawford fight, I watch all these videos and these podcasts, and I've been dying to get my take on it. So I got to drop it tonight. I just couldn't wait no longer. What better time to do it than on the 4th of July? All right. So with that being said, the Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Crawford fight, it's not official yet, but it's about as close as it's ever been. It was always the issue. You got two sides of the street. You got the PBC ran by Al Heyman, and then you got top ranked Bob Arum. Well, Errol Spence Jr. said he was going to clean up his side of the street, and he did that. He's a man of his word. And he had a car accident in the midst of all of that. Ferrari flipped over like flapjacks over and over and over and over and over again. If he had been wearing a seatbelt, probably wouldn't be here now. Y'all need to wear your seatbelt. But you're driving a convertible, you may not want to wear your seatbelt. No, keep your seatbelts on. Anyway, thank you, Lord. He stayed with us. And like I said, but let me give you the chronology of, and boxing fans know how he got his 3 belts to Terrence Crawford's 1 belt. And we also know, if you don't know, but to let you know, that this fight is for undisputed. It's for the undisputed welterweight championship of the world. Errol Spence Jr. has 3 belts. He has the WBA, the WBC, and the IBF. Terrence Crawford has the WBO. You might be like, what is a WBO? It is what it is. Back in the day in the 80s when it was Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran, and Tommy Hearns, we didn't have 50,000 belts. Had 2, WBA, WBC. So this undisputed fight for welterweight, this is the first truly undisputed welterweight fight we've had since, I believe, 1981 when Hearns fought Leonard. We all know how that went, okay? So everybody was worried about Hearns and his power. It turned out it was Sugar Ray's power you had to worry about. Now, hey, could be something like that could happen. Everybody talking about Errol Spence putting people to bed and fracturing eye sockets. Wouldn't it be crazy if it turned out that Crawford was the one you had to worry about with that power? Who knows? Now, Al Heyman, PBC, Terrence Crawford was with Bob Arum. We know, boxing fans know that they split. He went and he sued Bob Arum. That's in the courts right now. Floyd Mayweather now with Mayweather Productions. He don't slid up in the DMs. Now I feel like he's repping Terrence Crawford. So Floyd, he's negotiating with Al Heyman. But they're close already. Al Heyman and Floyd, they go way back. So that shouldn't be a problem. The problem is Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford is rumored he's asking for 20, 25 mil off the top. Then he won 40% of the gate from the pay-per-views. Here's the problem with that. Bud, people don't even know who the hell you are. Real talk. Boxing fans know who you are. But if I line up 100 people out here in Glendale, hell, I'll go to Las Vegas and line up 100 people. If you were to ask 100 people, any metropolitan city, and just line them up, do you know who Bud Crawford is? Do you know who Bud Crawford is? Do you know who Bud Crawford is? I guarantee you, for every 10 people, you might have 1, maybe 2 people that know who you are. Why? Because you chose to fight in Nebraska for all your fights. I mean, I'm not saying every single one of them. Yeah, I think you fought Kell Brook maybe in Vegas, or maybe Sean Porter, I can't remember. But, dog, all those fights you had at lightweight was in Nebraska. And that's when you became an undisputed and put your name, where you put your name on the map in boxing. Problem is, who the hell knows anything about Nebraska when it comes to boxing? That's college football town. Anybody thinking about Nebraska when it comes to boxing? So that's why nobody know who he is. Where on the other hand, Errol Spence came up in the Olympic ranks. I think he made it quarterfinals, semifinals, what it may be. Two-time national champion. You know, all of his fights, the first belt he got over in the UK. He went to the UK to get to get that belt from Kell Brook. I mean, I believe that was like when in one of those stadiums like Wembley, about 70,000 people up in there. Then he come back home, and Jerry Jones was smart enough to get involved in the pictures. Like, hey, you from Texas? Come fight in the AT&T Stadium. I want to get a little piece of that. Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys. Ask me which sports franchise is worth more money than any other sports franchise in the world. It's the Dallas Cowboys. So to fight in AT&T Stadium, oh, you definitely gonna get recognition. And people gonna show up there just because it's AT&T Stadium. So Errol Spence, now as far as pay-per-view buys, people paying for it because they can't be there in person. A lot of Errol Spence fights were in Vegas. Once again, you're fighting at AT&T, word of mouth, power in both hands. He's stopping guys. He was like, at one point, I believe he was like, what, 25-0 with 21 knockouts? Who don't want to see that? So that's why Errol Spence averages 400,000 pay-per-views, where Terrence Crawford is only averaging 100 to 150,000. That's it right there. So A side, Errol Spence got 3 belts. Crawford got 1 belt. Errol Spence is averaging 400,000 pay-per-views. He's averaging 150,000. Crawford already knows, he understands who the A side is. But he's overestimating how much money that he thinks he's going to get from this fight as a result. He thinks that this fight, he's thinking Mayweather-Pacquiao. Sorry. Mayweather and Pacquiao. Mayweather, an Olympian, got robbed in the gold medal fight. I believe the guy from Japan, China, whatever. Everybody know that he washed that dude. But all of these fights that Mayweather had pay-per-view, they was like in Vegas. It was prime time. De La Hoya, he was smart enough to take in the 70-30. He took a 70-30 split, of which he was the 30. Because he had enough common sense to realize that it don't matter about I'm only getting 30%. What matters is that this is Oscar De La Hoya. And the people are going to come out and they're going to pay to see Oscar De La Hoya. We ain't going to have no problem selling this fight pay-per-view wise. And so I may not make $100 million or $40 million or $50 million, but I'm going to make 10 to 20 million. And when this fight is over, I'm going to be the A side because I'm winning this fight. And from then on afterwards, if he wants a rematch, I'm the A side because I'm the champion. So he had enough common sense to realize that. Sometimes you got to give a little to get a little. Now, so I don't think that he's arguing who the A side is, but, you know, he was crying about what the percentage was going to be. And then finally I heard he accepted 55 to 45% instead of the 60-40 split, which I feel that Errol Spence deserved. But then I want $25 million off the top. No. People don't know. I'm an EJ fan. And when I go to these sports bars and things of that nature, and I just love to like strike up conversation with people, I say, hey, have you ever heard of, I saw it, hey man, I'm a big boxing fan. There's a huge fight coming up, Spence Crawford. You heard of them guys? They always pretend like, oh, yeah, I keep up with that. No, seriously, man, do you know Spence? Not really. I'm not, I'm more accustomed to, Mayweather, Pacquiao, those guys, Roy Jones. They don't know Spence like that. Now, if I ask a boxing fan, do you know who Errol Spence is? Oh, of course. Oh, yeah, Errol Spence, that's my guy. If I ask a boxing fan who Crawford is, oh, yeah, that's my guy. But when you ask people mainstream, people who just primarily they NFL fans, they NBA fans, MLB, things of the nature. And I say, hey, do you know who Spence is? Do you know who Crawford is? Those guys haven't transitioned over to superstar status when it comes to mainstream sports. If I ask them same people, do you know who Mayweather is? You know what Pacquiao is? They'll be like, oh, yeah, we know who they are. So with that being said, that's the problem there. So the promoters are smart enough to realize this, that these guys' names aren't quite to where Mayweather and Pacquiao's names were. So now let me get into the reason why EJ is going to wash Terrence Crawford. Errol Spence has the best jab in boxing. Plus, he's a southpaw. Terrence Crawford is a switch hitter. He's, I believe, naturally right-handed, but he fights more from the southpaw stance. Errol Spence is a master at setting his range and sticking that left jab to where he's going to do damage and score on you. But you're going to have a hard time getting past that range to get to him. If you watch him fight and watch his footwork, he'll keep that distance to where he'll stick that jab, and then when you try to answer back, he'll jump back so quick that you're like, whoa, wait a minute. It's not fair. Why you keep dotting my I's, but I can't get my hands on you? Now, Crawford, one of the biggest issues I got with Crawford, he's not busy enough. He gives up the first 3-4 rounds trying to figure you out. And usually his talent and his ability to counterpunch and to catch you with that punch you don't see, that's how he hurt guys. And then he's an excellent finisher. But see, with Spence, he's busy from the sound of the bell, the first 3-4 rounds, he's establishing that jab. His punch count somewhere between 60 to 80 punches, with Crawford somewhere between 20 to 40. It's just not going to cut it. You can't do that. Can't do that against Spence. Middle rounds, Errol Spence going to pick it up. He's going to attack this thing right here. And nobody snatches the body like Errol Spence. Crawford, yeah, you got the 6-8 pack abs and all of that. But you are a lightweight who, don't get me wrong, he is filling out into his welterweight body, his physique. But Errol Spence is more like a middleweight in a welterweight's body. Thank you, Danny Garcia, for saying that, because that's true. Errol Spence used to have to drop from 180 pounds walking around down to 147. 33 pounds? That's crazy. So he started staying in shape a whole lot more, especially after that car wreck, so he don't have weight camps. So he don't have weight loss camps. So with that being said, he stays in boxing shape primarily the majority of the time now. He's probably only got to drop about 15 pounds to get to 147. I'm telling you, it's a big man for that size. The power in both hands, even though I know both fighters got power, Errol Spence has the heavier hands. Ask you guys about that and that broken eye socket and how long that eye bled. 2 days, man. Broke his orbital bone. He broke Kell Brook's orbital bone. Ask Kell Brook how hard that man hit. I'm telling you, Terrence, you don't want that. You don't want that. All right, now, I feel like the chinny chin chin, EJ has shown that his chin is solid. You ain't never seen him on Queer Street. You might see him wobble to stun, but he go to that guard, protect himself, give him about 4 or 5 seconds, he right back, coming back at you to put damage to you. I seen Crawford hurt. He be on them wobbly legs, and he's sitting there like Gamboa had him, and he's sitting there, look, he don't know what day it is. I'm telling you, Crawford, if you get touched by Spence, and it's clean, I got a feeling you will be a little wobbly to the point to where you will be disoriented, to the point to where you will get stopped. Where Errol Spence, I believe he can take a direct shot from you, might be stunned, eat it, go to his guard, have himself together, and he good. So with that being said, hey, make sure you stay attuned to these videos I'm about to drop. I'm going to start dropping them on a regular, probably about once a week. You know, I am on summer vacay right now, but like I said, I also play a lot of golf. So it is what it is. It's a great sport. Don't knock golf. All right, don't knock it. Don't knock it till you try it. So with that being said, I'm gonna get up out of here. It's your boy Kevin from Glendale, Arizona. Like I said, right now, you know, I will come up with an official name for my podcast once again, but I appreciate you. I appreciate my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to do what I'm doing now. And of course, to touch the generation the way that I'm doing in education. For my girl, you make sure you enjoy yourself out there and you get back safely, because I can't wait till you get back. And for all my VSU fam, if you check this video out, love you. Got love for y'all. Hopefully we get together one time and do this again. Peace, y'all. Thank you.